Hey dosto, welcome to today's video. What if I tell you that every time you stream a movie, scroll Instagram, or chat on WhatsApp, you're actually relying on one of the fastest growing industry in the world today. That is data center, which is the hidden backbone of our digital lives. So in today's video, I'm going to cover some very interesting aspect. What I will cover you is many people don't know what is data center. What does it really mean? They just think that there is a warehouse and then there are some machines where we store the data. No, data center has many more things as an investor for us. What is an outlook of data center? This is going to be an interesting part of this video where I'm going to give you a comparison of Indian outlook versus USA, because many people in India are currently only looking at only India as an economy where they should go and invest. No, USA is also a big economy to invest for data center. Well, I will in fact do a very nice detailed data backed comparison of these two economy considering data center. I will let you personally decide where the money should flow, where you should invest. What are the subsectors in which get affected because of these data centers, and what are the stocks, most importantly, that you should watch out both from India and as well as USA. So, without further ado, let's get started for today's video. I will explain you this data point. Now, this is something from Indian context where this is a data from IMARC group where they say that the data center in India, the market is expected to grow at a CAGR of 10.9%. This is a good number, double digit growth, but this doesn't look fancy when we consider the global data. Why? I will explain you that in a later slide from now. A disclaimer that this is only for educational purpose. Now, at first, let us understand what is a data center. Now, data center is one such big warehouse, one such big area or a space where the data can be stored into a server. So, if you take your mobile, even in your mobile phone, you're storing some or the other data. That is also a data center, but at a smaller scale. But that is a private data center. That is very much private to you. But there is something called as a public data center, okay? Public cloud services. So this public means a server where number of customers, number of companies are accessing, are doing their business processes, using different applications and storing this data. So consider one big warehouse, okay? All these different racks, and they have their own individual servers. And there are more than thousands, crores of different customers who are utilizing these services to store the data in this central place. The benefit to them is unit of scale. If they manage their own individual data warehouse, it becomes highly costly for them. Okay, it's not cost effective. But if they work on a shared environment and a shared space, it is much cost effective. That's where the born of data center is. Now, what goes inside data center individually, we will look at it in a later slide from now. Now, what we looked a while back on the Indian context, if you see this here, in the Indian economy, the prediction of data center market to grow is 10.9%. But if you look at a global scale, currently we are standing at 2.8 capacity of data center. This is measured in megawatt, because see what happens is a data center, okay, which is server, we cannot measure this by the amount of GB that it stores. We measure the capacity of the data center by the electricity that it consumes. Okay. So currently it is at 2.8 megawatt, which is expected to grow by 2030 to 28.2. Now, this is approximately 46 to 47% CAGR. If we recall, in India, the CAGR growth is 10%, but at a global level, okay, this is a global landscape. From a global scope, the CAGR is 46%. So we have to understand, where do we have to invest our money? Is it in India or some in global companies, USA? That's the first point, first standpoint that you should note. We will see more information onto that. And now, if you look at further outlook of the investment that is happening in the data center scope, there is a Bank of America which expects that there will be a 12% compounded interest or compounded investment every year till 2028. Now, this is a big number to say, because pushing a total investment to close to $400 billion. The power usage itself is expected to double over the next 5 years, and the market size expansion for the data center market is expected to grow close to 104 billion by 2032. Now, this is the data center market. Now, when we talk about data, we have to talk about energy as well. Electricity usage itself is projected to go to 945 terawatt of energy. Now, if you look at data center from Indian context, there are two big companies who have announced their major investment into data center. First is Adani. Okay, there is Reliance as well. Reliance has also announced its own investment into data center, but two big investment. First is from Adani of close to $10 billion, and second is a Singapore-based capital land to invest 11,000 crore in India. Now, why I'm giving you this Indian context is we need to understand where do we invest money. Okay, so in India, if we take the top two investment, which is happening to close to $10 billion, and this is close to 11,000 crore. This 11,000 crore is more or less $1.2 billion. Okay, in dollar terms. Now, if you look at America to that context, the lowest investment in America is done by Google for $5 billion. Okay, so इंडिया के अगर टॉप टू इन्वेस्टमेंट को पकड़ो और यूएसए के बॉटम इन्वेस्टमेंट में बॉटम कंपनीज को पकड़ो हु आर इन्वेस्टिंग इन ग्लोबल डेटा सेंटर्स, द फर्स्ट वन इज 5 billion. Above that, Meta, which is Facebook, is also investing $10 billion. Above that, AWS, which is the big giant of data center, that is investing close to $100 billion. So it is very clear where the money is flowing. Investment, there is a big rule that we need to understand as an investor. So when you also personally invest, follow where the money is. Simple. Okay. Where is money getting diverted? Where is money getting invested? Follow that particular route. If the money is gone into these markets, okay, like USA, and these big investments are happening over there, certainly it is a global investment, but we have to understand when this investment happens. Okay. Definitely Google would do some investment outside USA as well. Meta would do outside USA as well. Likewise, AWS would do in Middle East as well, European market as well, Asia market as well. But the question is, which companies would be benefited the most? Is it the Indian companies because of that investment, or it is because these American companies? So importance is not about where the data center is being installed or where the data center expansion is happening. The question is about who is doing it and where are those companies primarily located. That's the first point. Now, when we talk about proxy of the data centers, few things to understand if you go back on this image, that in a data center, before constructing any data center and making it available for a public, okay, this data center has multiple different pieces of investment that has to be done before making the data center ready. So before installing this server, example, the entire infrastructure, okay, this land has to be acquired, this infrastructure, these pillars and everything has to be done. Server racks, but this is more of a real estate part, but mainly what goes inside a data center is like a server racks. Okay, so these all white color racks which you see, that needs to be set up. There are companies in India who are providing these racks. There are cooling units. Now if you see amongst all of this entire sub proxy investments, so what is proxy? In simple terms, agar data center ka demand आना है, so prior to data center there should be proxy investment into the proxy sectors. Like before data center utilization के लिए ready हो, before that all this setup is required. Likewise, cooling unit is required. Now if you see amongst all those things, other than servers, okay, other than main primary servers where data will be stored, cooling unit is the most important thing, because if this servers throws heat to a very large extent. So if your cooling unit is not strong, okay, you cannot sustain this data center. So cooling units has to be very strong. And then comes the servers, then comes the network connections as well, because you need multiple wires in order for this particular data servers to stay connected with one another. These are very small things. Camera, what we require, one more thing in this one missing is electricity. Okay, which means there is a demand of electricity also in setting up a new data centers. And then there are backup generators as well, which is a part of subset of electricity as well. So this is the whole picture of the proxy sectors that we should play out. Let's come to the most important part of the today's video, which are the stocks. Again, I would not specify any one single stock. I will leave that particular decision with you. I'm not a SEBI registered advisor, so I cannot suggest any specific stock that you should buy. All I can do is just share my research and information to you. And until now, if you have liked this video, then do subscribe, consider subscribing to this channel. I'll be making many more such videos and content for you. Now, few stocks to consider from Indian context, if I have to say. First is Netweb Technologies. Okay, they are very good in computing servers, storages, backup systems that will be provided. E2E networks, GPU infrastructure that they provide, D-Link, Polyclap. These are all cables that we saw, because this comes first in a warehouse. So this gets sold first, and these companies benefit the first because of the data center expansion. Okay, the essential cabling and everything will be provided by these companies. Kirloskar Engineering Oils and Cummins India, they provide backup for the primary power solution that we saw. Exide Industries providing high-end DC batteries for uninterrupted power in the data center. Likewise, you have Blue Star for cooling solutions. Anant Raj, this is one such stock I like as well because they are doing a good investments, close to 100 billion of reaching to 300 megawatt of data centers. Techno Electric and Engineering, this is another. They have also planned for a 1.3 billion of investment for 250 megawatt. The only point I like about techno electric engineering is it is an EPC play. So there will be a continuous flow of order book. Okay, it's not a one time setup. There will be a continuous flow of order book for these companies. So you will not see this particular stock dropping a lot. You will definitely see a stagnancy, a consolidations, and thereafter a rise. Okay, it can be 20-30% of up and down in the stock, but I like this stock for that purpose. Then Orion Pro Solutions, mainly for designing and consulting of the data center services. And then there are some electronic switches and all these companies who are good at electrical automations like ABBK switches and everything, which get utilized in such energy management and cooling systems. This is from Indian context. Now, if you look at American context, and again, this is not a stock recommendations, it is only for education purpose. One stock that I would definitely bet upon is Amazon. Okay, Amazon is going to be a rocket company after next 3 to 4 years, or maybe prior to that. Why? Because of the data center. Because all that data center expansion which Amazon is currently doing, it will be a heavy capex and a huge capex of $100 billion, which it is currently doing. And over a period of time, as and when this capex is done, Amazon will start getting revenue from this particular capex, which is a bigger thing. In fact, even in case of Amazon, to further share details, you can go and Google and read about their ad spends, which currently doing their advertising company, so which is growing close to 15 to 20%. Okay, on the Amazon e-commerce platform, not on AWS, but my bet on Amazon would be primarily on the AWS. Then AMD comes next after Nvidia. Okay, many people think that AMD is one such stock which cannot beat Nvidia. I totally agree on that, but I don't even expect AMD to beat Nvidia. AMD, even if it gets close to 12 to 15% of the share in the market, I think this can be a multi-bagger stock. It's just the wait and watch, because right now, what if you understand the era of AI? Currently, where we are currently building all the templates which are required for AI to be run. We are building AI agents. Okay, the inference thing we have just started. So once the inference market booms, okay, stocks like AMD are going to boom. So we have to just wait for another 2 to 3 years. We will see some good return from these stocks. And then Microsoft as well. Microsoft has many solutions, but Microsoft Cloud Services is the one which I would be investing into. Again, this is not a stock recommendations, only for educational purposes. That's all. I hope you have liked this video. Do let me know in comment if there is any specific stock in India or USA that you would want to cover, and I can cover the basic details of those stocks and do the fundamental analysis of that to you. Let me know in the comment, and if you have liked this video, hit like and say yes in the comments so that I'll get an understanding that yes, you're liking such kind of content and I can make more of it. Thank you so much. See you in the next video. Bye bye, guys.